Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm on the topic of the NBA and I'm looking at whether or not the Miami Heat can make the NBA Finals again. But before getting into that topic, I have a question for the video, of course, for you Miami Heat fans and NBA fans in general. Who is the all-time leader in rebounds for the Miami Heat in franchise history? If you know the answer, comment below. If you do not, I will reveal the answer at the end. But just to recap, as it is very well known, the Miami Heat made the NBA Finals last year in 2020 when there was the NBA bubble. There was a bubble in Orlando, shortened season, and it's very well known. They went through some pretty good teams. They played the Pacers, they beat the Celtics in the conference championships, and then of course met LeBron James and the LA Lakers in the NBA Finals. Put up a tough series, but they lost in 6 games. Amazing performance by Jimmy Butler. However, new season, they got redemption, and they might be able to get back there again. Currently, they are 6th seed in the NBA, not the top, or in the East, my mistake. Not the top, but last year when they made the playoffs, they were the 5th seed and still went all the way. So really, I don't want to say the seeding really, yes, of course, there's an advantage to it, but for the Heat, they've done it before, they could do it again. It's not the hugest factor in whether or not they will make it there. One of the main things I like about the Miami Heat is not the amount of star power they have, but the amount of depth they have on that team and guys that can score, put up numbers, and just be all around great role players and know what their best position is at. That starting lineup is typically between Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo. That is kind of what we're looking at right now, but partly that is due to injuries. If you got some other guys that, assuming they're healthy and pending they will be back soon, such as Andre Iguodala, Tyler Herro, Avery Bradley, Kendrick Nunn. Not all those guys are banged up, but a lot of those guys are kind of hurt, therefore tampering with the starting lineup. But I just named 9 guys right there that I think all have the capability of putting up anywhere between 10 and 15 points a single game. Obviously, not every single one of them will do that per game, but they all have the ability to put up double points in a single game, and therefore that's why I like the Miami Heat a lot, because of their depth chart is so deep. Any of those guys, a lot of those guys can put up an open 3, have a layup, go through the paint. Any of those guys have the capability to put up points, and that is what wins championships. Of course, defense is a factor, but Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, amazing defenders. I love this Miami Heat team. However, getting through the East is a whole different conversation. Like I said, they're the 6th seed. Not too worried about their seeding, but I'm really worried about the powerhouse that is in the East, and that is the Brooklyn Nets of Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. That will be a huge problem. I like the Heat moving forward in future years. They got a little bit of cap room to sign a big free agent in this offseason, but however, I think until they get a new free agent or make a big trade, I don't think this Miami Heat team will get back to the NBA Finals. My assumption is that in the East, when the playoffs come, they'll finish up right around the 5th seed of where they did last year. However, I think they'll perform more typically like a 5th seed does in the NBA playoffs, where you could get a playoff series win or 2, maybe even make the conference championship, but we don't see them go to the NBA Finals like they did last year. 5th seeds, that just typically does not happen in the NBA. Happened with the Rockets in the 90s with Olajuwon when they won, and it happened again here with the Heat when they made it to the NBA Finals. 5th seeds typically don't make it that far, and I don't think the Heat are going to pull it off again. Like I said, I think they could get a playoff series win or 2. I think if they match up against the Knicks, they could beat them. I think they could beat the Raptors. I think they could beat the Celtics. I think they could beat the Bucks. And I even think they could beat maybe the 76ers, but I just think they're going to hit a roadblock at some point in time when they have to face the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs. Defensively, they might be better than the Brooklyn Nets, but that powerhouse offense between, like I said, Kevin Durant, James Harden, 2 top 5 scorers in the NBA, and probably 3 top 10 scorers in the NBA with Kyrie Irving. I just think that powerhouse is too tough for most NBA teams in the league, not just the Heat. I think the Nets have a good chance of winning the NBA Finals. It could be a problem for the LeBron James Lakers, not just for the Heat here. I like the Heat to make the playoffs, and I like Jimmy Butler, and I like what they're building around him. And I think Tyler Herro, once he emerges and becomes a little bit better, he'll pan out to be a fantastic star. Same with Duncan Robinson. They're still pretty young. Bam Adebayo is really young. Andre Iguodala is providing a lot of experience and knowledge for that team in the years he's got left. As of right now, I like them to make the playoffs, and I like them to do what they did last year, be a 5th seed playoff team, but perform like a 5th seed playoff team, like how a 5th seed playoff team usually does, get 1 to 2 playoff series. I'd love to see them make it all the way. I'm not a serious Heat fan. I do like them. Not my number 1 team by any means. I'm not the biggest NBA guru, but I do like the Heat. I'd like to see them make it there over anyone else, but I just think the Nets will stop them. And really, I gave them the edge over a team like the Celtics or Raptors, Bucks, Knicks, or 76ers or really any of those teams can knock off each other, and it's possible the Heat could go home in round one. Don't think it'll happen. It's very possible. However, a lot of NBA season left. Who knows? They could end up the first seed, or they could end up missing the playoffs. Like I said, over roughly about half the NBA season left, anything can happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think they'll make the playoffs? Where do you think they'll end up on the seedings? Do you think they'll make the NBA Finals? To me, they will fall short. They won't make it just yet, but I think in the upcoming off season, which is far from now because NBA season just kind of started, but I think in future years this Heat team could build something special and be a finals competitor, but this year is not it. Like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And for the question of the video, the all-time leader in rebounds for the Miami Heat is Udonis Haslem. Old man Haslem is still on the Heat to this day. Technically, he's still on that roster, but he's nowhere near a starter. Leads in all-time rebounds for the Heat. Thanks for watching, guys. 2-minute warning.